Well, hello everybody and welcome to Lunch Break Live. Real talk about obesity, food addiction, recovery, and what's really eating you. I am Carrie Dela Cruz. So unbelievably happy to be back with you guys here in the saddle. I'm not really sure if I'm live yet because I'm not seeing any face. There we go. I got my first viewer. Hey, Christy, I'm so glad you're here. You know I hate it when I'm talking to myself all alone. Hey, Angela, welcome, welcome. Really glad that you're here. I'm going to be the Walmart greeter until my mom shows up. Melissa, you made it. Woohoo! And Bonnie, right on, right on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mom's not here to greet everybody. She might have to change her battery on her phone, or she might be doing, having problems with her phone, like she has to share the video and then she doesn't get to view it. It's crazy stuff, but welcome. I am so glad that you guys are here, but seriously, hey Mom, you made it. Okay, now you can take over the greeting responsibilities that I have been assuming, in your absence. So anyway, welcome, welcome. Hi, Sarah, how are you? Oh, it's so good to see you. I am unbelievably happy to be back with you guys, and let me just say, when I say back, not just back from Mexico, but back from, like a really dark place since November. I did not realize how hard it is when your stomach is kind of closed up and you can't eat, and how much consternation and concentration goes into dealing with just everyday living. And I have even more compassion for people who have far worse things that they have to deal with every single day. But let me tell you, just being on the other side of that now, today, waking up and just feeling what I would call normal is, I'm so grateful for it. It is a gift, it is a miracle, and I'm really thankful that's behind me and hope that I don't have to revisit that anytime soon. So, but in the meantime, so I am really, really back at you. So happy to be here and really happy that you guys are here with me. So listen, today's show, of course, you know what happens when I travel, when I go to Mexico, I always come back with stories and things to think about. And the interesting part about traveling to any country is the fact that humans are universal. We have the same feelings, the same hurts, the same hopes, the same wants and loves and struggles and, strengths and joys and all of that stuff. And I think it often distills down to a couple of things: family, food, right, and life. And those were all on full display for me. Now, coming from a very small family, my family is very, very small. You've heard me say it before. Mom and Dad were only children. So no aunts, no uncles, no cousins, right? Very strange to have married into this massive family of, my husband's one of 9. And it goes from there. Everyone's an aunt, an uncle, cousin. His dad was one of 12. Mom was one of 8. On and on and on. Massive, massive family. So it's crazy. It's a little bit crazy. You're certainly never alone at a party. You're also never unrelated at a party. I'll just say that. So today's talk is what I'm calling the cook of love. Get it? Like the look of love, but it's the cook. Maybe that's too hard. Here's the bottom line. I'm going to subtitle it. Food is the language of love. So it is time to be bilingual. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to stick to my script so I don't go too long. And then I will try to come back at you guys and see what you're saying. But if I don't, you'll understand why. So here's where I'm going to begin. For my regular viewers, anyone who's been here, longer than maybe a week, and those of you who know me from long before the show, you know that my husband is Mexican. I call him Mexican because I used to go by the moniker Gastric Bypass Barbie. So Gastric Bypass Barbie and Mexican. Okay, that is him. But he is also Mexican. And my mother and father-in-law live in Zacatecas, which is central Mexico. Now, since December, they have been traveling all around, spending time with, 2 of their daughters, their grands and their great-grands in Ensenada, and then 2 of their sons and daughters-in-law, that would be me, and grands here in Southern California, and 3 of their sons, daughters-in-laws, and grands in Northern California. So they have been couch surfing, is I guess what you would call it. I cannot imagine how hard it is to couch surf at their age, but they are incredibly devoted to their kids, the entire family. They will sleep on the floor and do sleep on the floor if it means they can be closer to the family. They give up their bed and they sleep on the floor if it means they can be closer to their family. They're fierce. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They are absolutely fierce people. So my mother-in-law is, I'm going to call her an extraordinary cook. Extraordinary. I am not in any way, you know what? I might be underrepresenting her when I call her an extraordinary cook. She really, really is. Everybody says so, especially her. And they're all right, by the way. Now, she prides herself on her ability to perfectly season and salt whatever it is that she makes. And everything is served with love. There is never a doubt about where this is coming from. It is coming from her heart. And her hands are an extension of her heart. This food comes from love, all right? Now, I have not seen anything that makes her happier than feeding other people. I mean, that gives her tremendous joy. Good food to the family and friends, good food. And then guess what? When they take seconds and thirds, right? Happiness and joy. I could die happy. She's like thrilled. Seconds and thirds. All right, so you know how there's like 5 love languages? Have you guys heard that book out there, you know, the 5 love languages? All right, there's like words of affirmation where, you know, you like to hear, oh, you look so pretty today. Oh, I feel loved when I hear that. Or maybe I like to tell other people, oh, you look so lovely today because I'm telling you I love you. Quality time, let's just be together. I want to be next to you. You don't even have to talk, just want to be with you as much time as possible. Let's see, gifts like, you know, a lot of people are really great gift givers and they love it. They take great joy in giving gifts, and other people receive gifts and say, oh, I feel so loved when someone took the time to buy me a special gift. Acts of service or devotion, which is doing things for other people. You know, my husband is one of those people. He loves to do things for other people. He shows his love that way, and it's a lot harder for me to show him I love him by doing things for him because he's so self-sufficient, but he loves it. And then physical touch. Just touch me. Just sit next to me. Just bump up right against me, or, you know, maybe give me a neck massage or whatever. Kiss me, whatever. Physical touch. I just need to connect with you that way. Well, I'm going to add one to that list that, you know, probably they haven't thought of. Food. I've decided that food is definitely, that's definitely my mother-in-law's love language. And I'm going to say in the Mexican culture, food is a language that is spoken universally. Everybody speaks it, even if it's not always spoken well. I joke about it. I do. But seriously, when you visit a Mexican home, this is very important. There will be beans in a pot, tortillas in a stack, sopa on the stove, salsa a molcajete. I mean, it's all there, right? No matter what time of day it is. By the way, I don't care what time of day it is. You will be served a plate. And if you don't accept it, you might as well just spit in their eye and leave. Okay, what's wrong with my beans? You don't like me? You don't love me? You don't want my beans? All right. Now, this is not unique to the Mexican culture. I understand that. As we have discussed, there are lots and lots of cultures that revolve around food, like, you know, Italian and Greek. Italian, Greek, Spanish. Do you think it has anything to do with Catholicism? Do you think? Oh, no, the French do it too. Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, food is the language of love. And even if you don't speak French or Spanish or Italian or Greek and you just eat, you'll be speaking volumes, okay? Now, a little sidebar here that I did not write. The interesting thing about me is I realize as I write this and as I experience this stuff and see it on others is I do not come from a culture or a house where food was the language of love, which is not to say that my mom did not take great joy in feeding us and healthy food and preparing it for us and making sure that we were fed in the proper portions and all this. No, I don't mean that at all, because she certainly did. And she was amazing about it, okay? But I believe there was always this, I don't even want to say a love relationship, it was a hate relationship. There was animosity and anger about stop eating that food, stay away from that food. That food is no good for you. You can't have that food. Your brother's diabetic, he can't have that food, so you can't have that food. So in other words, it was a lot of what you can't have, and how food is bad to me. Mom, not blaming you here, just saying, this is my reality, okay? Food did not represent love to me. It actually represented hate, okay? So that's my background, interestingly enough, and I know not everybody shares that, but in experiencing for the last almost 30 years, what my husband has experienced, I do realize I can experience it and feel it firsthand, what food as love feels like, okay? Now, okay, so I just got back from Baja, as I mentioned to you guys, all right, where we dropped my in-laws off. Okay, it was time for them to go home with my sister-in-law, because she lives in Ensenada, and then they're going to take a bus home to Zacatecas and do that kind of thing. All right, but We also went because we were invited to a quinceañera, which is like a rite of passage for girls when they turn 15. It's like a super big deal. There's a church mass, and then there's like this huge party with what? Food and beer. A lot of beer. Lots of beer. Anyway, a lot of food too. So anyway, it is a really super huge deal. It's a big, big deal. Girls look forward to it. It's like a pre-wedding. It's that big a deal. And it's fun for the whole family. Everybody loves to go because, I don't care if you're a baby or just born like an hour ago. You will be there and you will have fun. All right. It's just amazing because it's family and it's food. All right. So this particular soiree that we went to started at 2. The mass was sandwiched between 2 funerals. So honestly, this stuff happens, right? So we had to wait for the first casket to be wheeled out so that we could walk into the mass, and then we had to really leave fast so the next casket could get wheeled in. I'm not exaggerating. It's absolutely true. So it started at roughly 2, a little later than because of that whole death thing, and it ended promptly at 3 because of the aforementioned other death thing. And then, so then we all went home. Everybody went home. You know how like in America, you have a wedding and then bam, that reception better start and bam, where's my food? You better feed me. Do not make me wait. I don't care if you're taking pictures. Give me finger foods to keep me entertained while you're doing whatever you got to do, and then feed me, right? You got to get it over. Bim, bam, boom. We're going to dance. And then we got the first dance and we got to cut the cake and we got very organized, get them in, get them out, right? Do not take too much of my time. Not the same way in Mexico. Not at all. It just kind of, happens. When it happens, there's stuff to do. People got to do stuff. They got to go walk on the beach. They got to set up. They got to cook the beans. It takes time. A lot less stressful for them than it is for me because I'm a planner. So anyway, there's that. All right. Now, what that means is, let's see, the reception started at 9. 9 o'clock. And dinner and dancing at 9. It's right here. My bedtime is 9. So you can imagine this was challenging for me. I'm not a party animal. I am an avowed party pooper. My mom knows it. I am. I don't want to be up that late. Oh, and it was outdoors at a ranch. So I was dressed perfectly in my 5-inch platform heels and my maxi dress and shawl. Yeah. Hello, a little forewarning would not hurt here. If someone could have said, ranch theme, I could have worn my boots, but nobody mentioned that to me. And it was 50 degrees. 50, which is cold for Californians, all right? Do not pick on me if you are from, like, Minnesota. I don't want to hear it. It's cold for me. All right. So, and a lot of people were smoking. God, I hate that. I hate that. It makes me sick. Okay? So, here's the deal. Want to know a trifecta of trauma for me? Here you go. Late, cold, smoking. Put those 3 things together. I am down for the count. I am not a party at all. I am miserable. I do my best, but I am not a lot of fun. So then if you add in food to all of that, it's a party designed just for me. It's like somebody signed up and said, how can we make Carrie, happy, do all of these things at once? Not. All right. It traumatizes me. It just the people there don't care, but it traumatizes me. This is where the gringa stands out, I promise you. And what that means is I am not fluent in the all-important love language of food. I do not speak that fluently. Clearly, I do not kiss the cook, all right? What did they serve, by the way, at 10 o'clock, not 9 o'clock? Let's see, tortillas, beans, birria, beer, cake. Yeah, diet fare all the way, don't you agree? But it was made with love. It was served with love. It was consumed with love, and that's how it is. So, how can I argue with that? Just because I'm not feeling it, trust me, everybody else is. And if they want to fit in, they feel it too. So, but what if you're like me? And you don't eat the way that everyone around you eats? And what if you bring your own food, which I did? I brought a little protein shake, an RTD. And then what happens if you say no to them? Oh boy, when they offer you gorditas, what happens? Okay, well, fortunately, my family has 10 years of experience in learning my love language. They've been very kind about that. And while they may not speak it, they understand it. But that's me. I'm the güera. Right? I'm the white girl, the weird American girl. All Americans, that could be weird about food. They're always on a diet or something like that. They get it. But what if you're like one of my nieces who battles with their weight? Or my sisters-in-law who battle with their weight? They were raised, like absolutely weaned on beans. They were raised to cook and eat a certain way. It is what you do. If you love your family, you do this thing. So to reject the third tamal is to reject them all. You get it? Right? and then you're rejecting me. All right, so we talked about this communication problem when I was down there, and I shared with them how I totally understand the struggles. I do. I get it. They were not convinced, however, because, of course, look at me. You're like, yeah, sure, right, you get it. But then I described the scene from my perspective, and it's kind of funny because I'm able to kind of sit on the sidelines in a way that they aren't. From the minute you get up in the morning, someone is already cooking in the kitchen, and they want to know how you slept and what you want to eat. And you will say, I slept very well, thank you, and I'll just have coffee and pan, which is like sweet Mexican bread, for now. And then you will be asked, are you sure you don't want some fried eggs, fideo, which is spaghetti soup, beans and tortillas? And you will politely say, no, thank you. And then when everyone else comes to the table, you'll say, 2 eggs and just a spoon of everything. And the conversation around the table will be about what else? Food. What you remember mom making for you as a kid, what mom is going to make today, your favorite memories of mom's cooking. You will talk about how hot the chiles are and how you don't have room for anything else, but you will have some of that capirotada, which is bread pudding, or a donut, just because they passed it to you. Your mouth says no, but your eyes say yes. And that's it. It is what you do. And the person serving you, here's what's happening. They're saying, this is how much I love you. This is how much I love you. And when you accept it, you're saying, I love you too. See, I love you too. The language is very romantic, and the gestures are grand, and the smiles are big. And I mean, the bigger the serving, the bigger the love. The conversation is absolutely decadent. And I'm talking, the way in which the food is discussed is the way in which you would discuss love and life. The people, it's like there might as well be some sexy music going on in the background, and the lights might as well be dimmed, and everybody's they're just sitting there, they're just, oh my, oh, and the oregano, oh my, right? Everybody is caught up in the sexiness and the love and the romanticism of the food, okay? Unless you're me. Again, me. I stand out for a lot of reasons down there, but I don't share the memories. Obviously I wasn't there, or I didn't share mom's cooking with them clearly. I don't always understand the words that everybody's talking about either, and I don't speak the food language fluently. So it's kind of a problem sometimes. But what if you are fluent? Because food is your first language. What do, right? Mom's mole and mom's love are one and the same. To reject her mole is to reject her. You will hurt her and be hurt because you won't feel loved. Mom and food are one in the same. You feel her love, her comfort, and warmth. You feel the depth of her compassion and the fullness of her heart. Your relationship with your mom is complicated at best, because think about it, in your new life, if you're around these parts with me, your new life of treating the disease of obesity or food addiction, you got to figure out how you're going to now have a loving relationship with your mom without the flour tortillas. How do I do that? How do I do that and let her know that I still love her and I still feel that she loves me, right? I mean, we're talking about trying to extricate ourselves from things like comfort and security and celebration, joy, togetherness, and family without the rice or the burritos. How do we experience those things? We've got to coax these two things apart, right? Well, so here's the challenge. How do you create an entirely new relationship with your mom? And by extension, everyone else, but let's just start with mom. I think it's twofold. One, you got to learn a new language, and 2, you have to teach it to her so she can understand your new language. You're going to use new words, and you're going to have new conversations, and it will be completely foreign, but it starts with you. Okay, it's up to you. And we're going to talk a lot more about this in the coming days. Can't talk about it all today because it is profound. It is absolutely profound. Food is the language of love. I mean, you have a Kiss the Cook apron in your kitchen. You know you do. I'm going to leave you with this, okay? So yesterday afternoon, we went to Palm Sunday Mass, all right? And afterwards, we stopped by a small raspado stand. And that's shaved ice that has, flavored sugar syrup poured all over it. So it's like a snow cone or something like that kind of, but it's just got and probably chili on top because you can't. I cut up some fruit, like these wonderful juicy oranges. No one would touch them until I sprinkled chili on top, and then everybody's like, "Ooh, that's so good." I'm on to them now. Just put chili on it and they'll eat it. I'm serious. And it is good with chili, by the way. I'm just saying. All right. Anyway, I stayed in the car this particular time. Sometimes I get out and just sit with them and whatever. But, there weren't a lot of seats and all that. And we were right there. I mean, the curb, they're just sitting right there. It's not as if I was isolating myself. But I hung out in the car with the door open and whatever and let them do their thing. And my niece hung back with me and she chatted with me. And here's how our conversation was. Well, she placed her order for her raspado with her hubby. And then she said to me, "Tia, can't you have raspados?" It's a very reasonable question. I said, yes, I can, but it is not healthy for me because it has a bunch of sugar that I don't need. I was speaking a foreign language to her. It was not computing at all. Not that she doesn't understand sugar, but she was like, you can't have it. You can't have it? You're cutting yourself off from that? And she said, "Oh, okay, but don't you feel sad that you can't have one with everybody else?" And that's the heart of it, right there. That is the heart of it. And I said, yes. Oh, yes. There are times when I feel sad. And I wish I could be laughing and eating, with everybody else. But then I remember how I felt after we were done laughing and I still wanted to eat. See, I wasn't done just because the raspados were done. I was looking for the next thing. I would feel lonely and sad and cheated. And everybody else, they wouldn't even be thinking about it at all. But I sure would be. And it would be eating me up. So yeah, definitely. There are times when I feel really sad. There are. And there are times, and this came to me too, when I remember the pure pleasure of just having what everyone else is having. I'll just have what everybody else is having. Or I'm just going to grab a treat at the panaderia because it smells so good when I walk in and just because I want it. Just because I want it, right? Oh boy, I miss that. It is really easy to feel like I am not speaking the same language as everyone else. Just because I don't speak Spanish as a first language, I'm talking food is even farther removed at this point. It is not easy. It is just not easy to be the one speaking a language that no one understands. And so in those moments, I have to keep myself from saying I'm not loved, because that's just not true. You see, I realize that when you equate food and love, it's easy to not feel loved if you are not participating in the food, okay? But that's the point where I need to step back. When I'm starting to go to that place and saying I don't get to share the love because I don't get to share that whatever, food is not love. This is what I tell myself out loud. I do, and it's great. I'm speaking English. They don't understand me anyway at the panaderia, so it's okay. Food is not love. I can show and receive love without food. My job is to reframe my relationship with food. Then I can reframe my relationship with others. It's true. And of course, like with any relationship, you guys, there are hurt feelings and misunderstandings and sadness and unhappiness and confusion and mistakes. It happens. But see, ultimately, if that relationship is based on respect and honesty, both ways, respect and honesty, you've got to be honest about this stuff, then guess what? The food won't get in the way of the love. So that's where I'm going to leave that for today. That's my little Hola Leti. That is my cuñada. And she is another phenomenal cook. Like she's been professionally exposed to a lot of higher end cooking, and she is wanting to begin making wraps, these different colored wraps, healthier versions of tortillas, like with carrot in them or spinach, the wraps like we have up here. She's going to be bringing those to the community there, and homemade salsa and everything else, and we're going to try and help her. So anyway, so I see Bonnie saying that's my mom, except she was Hungarian. And so you could see there are lots and lots of cultures that do revolve around food. And I think, honestly, I think a lot of cultures like in the South, for example, here in the United States, poverty is a very common a common contributor to this food is love thing. Because if you don't have money and you can't do anything else, but you can, and you have a big family, let's say, and you got to find a way to provide, you're going to pour everything you've got in it to make sure that your family feels loved. And one thing you can all do together, because you can't all afford to go to Disneyland, you can afford to sit around the table and eat and laugh and have memories and share these memories, right? Think about if you're an alcoholic and your culture revolves around beer or wine, right? Italians, French, Mexicans, lots of alcohol, right? See, so you've got an additional struggle there because it's all part of the experience. It's all part of love. So anyway, guys, I am going to let you go while it is still early enough. And I would like to read your comments and come back at you. Thank you so much for contributing, for showing up and being a part of my day. I've heard a few of you say that this is kind of like the highlight of your day. It's the highlight of my day too. I love spending it with you. I love getting to know more about you guys. I love your courage and your willingness to put it out there, you know, and say, this is how I feel, or this is what I think, or I don't agree with you, or whatever it is. I love that because that's what forms a real, true community. I don't want a bunch of people just going, yeah, you're right, absolutely, can't disagree with you ever, 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 ever. No, I want to have this discussion so that we can have dimension. We can have a lot of dimension and variety in our relationship here in this community because everybody is looking for support, but we all feel it just like those love languages. We all receive it and give it in different ways. So I would also like to put this out there. I'm beginning to see a lot of support people coming in. And I'm really excited about that. I'm really glad that you guys are here because this show is not just one-sided. Because guess what? I'm on both sides of that equation, right? Not only do I have to treat the disease of obesity and food addiction, those diseases, but I also have to have a relationship with my family where I have to support them in their needs. Everybody has needs. We have to be a support system for everybody. Fortunately, now that I am healthier, I can be that support system that I wasn't before. So I am really, really grateful for the support people that are coming in, that are helping us to expand and make a better foundation for this community. I invite you to invite other support people in so that we can really make a difference. And let's talk about the stuff that's eating you up, okay? See, it doesn't have to be food. It can be struggles that you have with someone in your life. And they say, well, you can't possibly understand me because you don't have my disease. How do you reach them? How do you get across that divide? How do you bridge that divide? So let's talk about that here in the coming days, weeks, and months on the program, okay? So thank you guys so much for being here. Again, I am grateful to be back with you guys at what I'm going to call 100%. So thank you so much. I will see you guys tomorrow. Let me know what you want to talk about as ever, and I will do my best to address it in my own inimitable way. All right then, so I'm going to sign off and remind you all to have courage, seek peace, embrace joy, and above all, live your recovery. Remember, you can't stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.